Hello, I'm Kimberly Henry, and this is Living the Good Life. In this series, we'll feature conversations around ways to embrace the goodness of life and take a big, juicy bite out of it. Food for the soul and the funny bone. Learn to give more time to yourself, become a better friend, lead an amazing life, and how to tell the best joke at the party. Living the good life can mean different things to different people. Whatever it is for you, I hope you'll find some inspiration here to live your most joyful, authentic life. Now, on to today's conversation. I am so excited to welcome to our podcast, our show, Living the Good Life, Dr. Susie Sharpe, and talking about living life to the fullest. Susie is doing it. She's going to talk to us a little bit about how she has created her life, designed her life. Susie grew up in South Korea, came to the U.S. at 16 years old without speaking any English. She's worked her way through college, medical school, graduated from Yale in 1990. She's completed her internal medicine residency at Yale New Haven Hospital. She's been practicing for 25 years in Seattle and then Missouri, and is now the medical director at Mercy Clinic in Springfield, Missouri. Additionally, Susie has just come back from the very prestigious art show in the Hamptons. So she'll tell us a little bit about that. So not only is she an incredible physician, but she is also an incredible celebrated artist. Susie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Kim.
I'm so excited we get to spend some time together. Tell us a little bit about what life is like for you today.
So I divide my time between seeing patients and doing my art. I'm an internist, so most of my patients have diabetes and heart disease, and I do cancer screening and so on. And then as an artist, I create acrylic painting mostly, and now I am doing quite a few shows outside my area. So my first major one was in New York and Hamptons 2 weeks ago. And then my next shows are in Europe. So I've got one in Paris, Luxembourg, and Brussels, all coming up between next few weeks to next few months. And then now after that, I have another show in Miami. So I love dividing my time like that because I without doing both, my life wouldn't be complete. And I'm also a mother of two children. So
I was just going to say, we didn't even talk about that in your bio. When I think of the physicians that I know in my circle, most of them are very, very busy people just doing that work. And then adding in having a family, and then adding the art, not only creating the art, but traveling to these shows. How do you do it all? And does it feel overwhelming at times?
Well, at times, but it's my choice because, and so for me, I'm excited. Okay. Mm-hmm. And because I don't need to be doing anything, I don't have to practice medicine. I don't have to do art, but I'm doing it just as a fulfillment of the dreams that I've had for a long time. And, it wasn't that long ago that all of these things that I'm doing felt like an impossible dream. I couldn't share with anybody because it was just so far away from my reality. So to be living my dream now, it feels awesome.
I love that. And I love that you said it's your choice.
Yeah.
It's something that we talk a lot about, is making the choices to create or design the life that you want. Mm-hmm. When did you know that this is what you wanted to create for your life?
So when I was growing up in Korea, my dream was to become an artist and become an art professor. And as you mentioned, suddenly my parents decided to immigrate when I was 16 and landing in New York City, not speaking anything. And in the middle of high school, things changed quite a bit. One was, my parents, who were professionals in Korea, suddenly became just a non-English speaking immigrant, just struggling to make living because they couldn't translate any of their skills and education in America. And so they were already in their 40s and 50s. I quickly realized that if I didn't make it on my own, there wasn't going to be any help. And so I decided to give up on my dream of becoming an artist because I chose medicine because I needed a career that I know that I could support myself. And I also wanted to help people. And to make a long story short, I mean, that felt like an impossible dream. Um, and it was very difficult going through, college, having to record every single lecture and majoring in chemistry solely because it required least amount of English. Although I had no interest in chemistry, but it was a subject that I felt like I could have a better chance of getting A's, and so it took a long time learning English and putting myself through college and medical school just because my parents couldn't support pay for any part of my education.
So talk to me a little bit about that, because as a teen or a young adult, that takes a lot of fortitude and vision to do that. Where did that drive come from?
Desperation. Yeah, I just realized if I didn't make it on my own, I was going to be a starving artist on the street of New York, okay, with no guarantee. And I just decided I wasn't going to live like that as an immigrant struggling for the rest of my life. I was going to make it on my own. And I felt like I only had one chance to do this. And, it took a long time. I mean, I spent basically, 15 plus years doing nothing but studying and working. Yeah. But
you came out on the other side in a really brilliant, beautiful way. Did you have a vision at that time that you would end up in the place that you are now?
I knew that at some point I would have to do art because it's in my DNA. This is what I was born to do. But I didn't know exactly how to get there, other than the fact that once I get established as a physician and, with a practice, that at some point I would be adding art back in my life. I just didn't know how and when. And raising children, that's also a huge responsibility. Okay. And juggling all,
yeah,
it's been quite a journey. Yes.
Life can be busy and crazy. There's a way, though, that, I mean, you always have such joy whenever I speak to you. Do you think there's a way, a mindset shift that you can make to make that busyness and that overwhelm more joyful and less overwhelming?
Again, knowing that it's my choice. Okay. I think it helps. I designed it so that, sure, people who's looking at my life feel like, oh my goodness, this looks so stressful, overwhelming, whatever. They might use those kind of words. But for me, hey, I wanted to do this, and so I get to do it. I don't have to do anything. I get to do it. So how fun is that?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So what does a typical day look like for you?
It's pretty busy. My day is very booked up, and I use a small increments. I use really literally about 10-minute blocks. So it's booked up, and I usually have a schedule made up, in advance. Okay. And then I just go through it. And then there are things that comes up, throughout the day that I add or subtract or something. I may modify it, but I generally know what I need to get done, and so it's fun. It's a mindset. Okay. The other thing I think that helps is that, as a physician, I still see so much human suffering. Some of my patients are in chronic pain. Many of my patients had cancer, survived or died, or living with it. Okay. And each day is a precious gift. Each day is a very special gift. And I want to make the most out of each day. And I feel pretty strongly about that. And so I try to live each day as though it might be my last, because it could be, and each day that I'm not in, say, major pain, it's an amazing day. So I think that's where I'm coming from.
What an incredible outlook. And I think that that attitude or that mindset really translates into the art that you create. Um, it's so vibrant. And even though you've got a lot of different subject matter, you can, and those of you who are tuning in, you can go and look at her website right now, Dr. Susie Sharpe. It's SusieSharpe.net, and check out
Yeah.
the gallery. There's so many beautiful pieces that you have created that are just, they speak to me. They're very vibrant. One of my favorites, maybe you can talk a little bit about it, is in the, I believe it's the Music Lovers series. It's called The Joy of Music. How do you create these ideas and then translate them to art?
So music has been a big part of my life. I'm a pianist.
Of course
and
you
I've
are.
done and have done a lot of music with both of my kids, enough so that they could have been a music major, or a violinist, a pianist. They could have been that if they chose to, and because I've done a lot of music. So yeah. So the
just
vibrancy comes from, again, my message, which is, there's a lot of negativity, a lot of suffering now, but I like to bring attention to beautiful and positive side of life, because there is so much beauty in life, but we have to kind of seek out for it. And so, music is such just an amazing part of life. I mean, I can't imagine a life without music.
It touches people in so many different ways. It's incredible and brings us all together. Another one of my favorites is maybe more of a classic. And that's the and I can't even pronounce this, Lilies from Chateau
Chinosu. Yeah.
Chinosu?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a chateau that I visited in France several years ago, and it had huge bouquets of flowers, fresh flowers all over inside the chateau. And I took multiple pictures of that. And so this painting is from that.
Oh, beautiful.
Again, when I first started painting this, I said, how is this going to come together? What's it going to like, but each time when you have self-doubt, you just have to push through that somehow, it will work. You may not know the outcome of it. And just like many things that I've done, I may not know how to get there, but you stick with the process. The perseverance is a big part of it, and there it is.
So that's distilled down to your art. But as you say, it applies to so many things, including your journey to become a physician, to allow yourself the foundation then to create this art.
Yes.
Incredible. And finally, the newest series that you've been working on, or at least that I've seen you promoting, is the Ocean series, or the Ocean series. Fantastic work coming out of that. And that has been a jumping off to some other merchandising. Is that correct?
Yes. My Ocean series has been really popular online, and one of the viewers contacted me and said, she's got a fabric company in Bangladesh, and I wanted to make fabric out of it. And so, to make a long story short, she purchased a digital image and printed fabric, and it actually, first batch is already sold out. And then I knew that I had this New York show coming up, and that my whole exhibit was going to be on ocean lovers theme. And I, in the middle of the night, I thought, I wonder if I could have her make a dress out of this fabric. And it was like three weeks before the show. And this woman also had a vision. She's a Yale alumni, who's living in Bangladesh with the company she owns. Anyway, so I designed the dress and sent it to her, and hey, it happened. And so now that dress is really, really popular. So people, there are a lot of people wanting to buy it, and I'm going to the adding the fashion line to my art.
That is amazing. So will you start with the ocean series, or will you be branching out to other pieces of art or other series?
I'll start with the ocean series because it's just so popular. People find it refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
The whole reason that this series got started was last year. With the pandemic, and we were all locked down. And I'm used to living East Coast and West Coast, and now I'm in the middle, away from the ocean. So I was really missing the ocean because I was used to traveling. And so I painted one, just longing for ocean, something just refreshing blue, and it just went viral. And so I kept on creating more, and now I've got a whole series. So, and it's been probably one of my most popular series. And yeah.
How long does it take you to create a piece from start to finish?
It depends a lot. Okay. But, I typically tell them, it's like, I could see about 50 patients for the time that it takes to see that to create a painting.
Did you say 50?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the piece, but yeah. Because medicine, I've done it for long. It comes very naturally. I wear my physician hat most of the time, and then when I go into studio, I have to switch gear, completely change my mindset, and that transition takes a little bit of time because the rest of the day I'm thinking analytically, scientifically, and then when I go into studio as an artist, I have to let go of all that control. I have to be free. Okay. And which doesn't come, always easy, but, and then I create, and then I come out of that studio, and then I'm back to being a physician, so that's how it works.
Do you find that the artist part of you is a welcome break from the physician part, or vice versa? Are they a break from one another?
I think I need both.
Yeah.
I love the intellectual part of medicine. I love making a difference. Internal medicine is a very intellectual field, and I love doing that. I'm so grateful that my plan B, which is medicine, worked out so well that I find it really fulfilling. I make a difference in patients' life every day. I love doing that. I got to do some medical mission trips in South America, and art is sort of like what I was born to do. So I'm grateful that I get to do this. Because I think all of us have something we're kind of born to do. And, some people don't get to do it, don't, and or they keep putting off. And life is unpredictable. So my message is, don't have a long bucket list. Start living that bucket list now, because, we don't have any guarantee for tomorrow.
What advice would you give to someone, a young person now, who is maybe in a similar set of circumstances or having similar decisions and choices that they need to make? So someone who would rather be an artist going into the college years, what would you advise them?
I know that other people will just say, just follow your passion and don't worry about anything else. I think my advice would be a little bit different, just because people have to take care of the reality of it, And so I would say, do what you need to do. On the other hand, make sure that you keep that dream alive inside and you pursue it, in any way possible, whatever possible. In my case, I had to keep it alive, not being able to do art for really almost 20 plus years. And depending on your situation, sometimes you might have to wait that long, but don't wait forever.
Were you able to doodle at least when you were in school?
Oh no, I mean like
No.
going through pre-med and medical school and residency. I mean,
Mm.
and especially, while learning English and having to look up words all the time. And no, that I couldn't do any art. And then, once I had kids, I mean, I was so busy with them. So
Sure.
not much. But I think when the kids got a little bit older, I started to do some by just starting, evening classes or, something like that.
So what I'm hearing a really strong message that's coming through for me is,
Yeah.
as you said, don't give up your dream, but continue to know that that's possible down the road if you're
Yes.
in a situation where you just have to do
Hmm.
what you have to do.
Right. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I wish I had a role model because there wasn't anybody who were doing anything that I wanted to do. I mean, I didn't have any physicians in my and in my among my relatives or anybody, and I didn't have
Mhm.
any doing anybody doing art either. And so, but if you can find somebody who is doing what you want to do, uh, that helps so much.
Mm.
Hmm.
I've always heard that find somebody who's doing what you want to do and then
Hmm.
do whatever they tell you.
Yeah,
Uh,
and even if that person may not be in your life, okay,
mhm,
or it could be somebody online and you admire or something. But I
mhm.
think it does help. Yeah.
Well, I imagine that there are a lot of people looking to you in the path that you've paved.
Hmm.
So while you're serving patients and you're serving art lovers around the world and your family, you're also a mentor, whether you realize or not, for so many others who are looking for a way to create their dream, I'm sure.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm really amazed just how many people came forward, sent me messages and telling me uh, that my message gave them a hope to
Hmm.
persevere and keep their dream alive and taking steps to achieve them.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So what's next for you?
So I'm going to be starting my memoir within probably next several months,
Mm,
and I'd like to get it published next year for sure. Okay, because I've seen a lot, as a physician and an artist, and as an immigrant and as a mom, and I like to share my story in a memoir. Okay. And then after that, I like to get more into philanthropic work. So, my art proceeds and my proceeds are going to support my charity work. So, those are kind of my next set of plans.
what charities speak to you?
I feel strongly about supporting girls' education and empowerment. I feel like even the poorest person in America has more opportunities than most people in the rest of the world.
Mm,
Um, and so, there are lots of girls in the poor countries that don't have access to even the basic education. They're sold as sex slave. And so I I feel strongly about supporting that cause so that they could be empowered, they could be independent, they could follow their dreams. I feel really strongly about that. And there are other causes that I support as well. I mean, like Doctors Without Border and so on. Um, but um, yeah,
wonderful. Well, this has been fantastic having this chat with you. You are such an inspiring person. And I don't know if you even realize, but you're creating beautiful, inspiring work and you're doing beautiful, inspiring work as well. I cannot wait to read your book when it comes out.
thank you.
Yeah, you are heading to Paris sometime this fall?
So that show, my artwork is actually already there. I won't be there physically, but it's a big international event, so it'll happen. Okay, and
What
uh, and then physically, I'll be in my Miami show in December. So I'm really looking forward to it.
wonderful. Wonderful. Well, you've definitely earned it. All the accolades and the travel and the fun and burning in the burning of the midnight oil.
But I want people to know that it wasn't long that when all of these seemed like impossible, I couldn't tell anybody because it just was just so far away from the reality. So, if you have dreams that you're too afraid to tell even your best friend, okay, keep that alive. You could get there.
Wonderful. Great message. Great message. You're definitely living life to the fullest. The best way for people to reach out to you if they want to learn more about your work or have questions?
My website is SusieSharpe.net. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and it's just my name. And I see there's maybe a Susie.Sharpe or Sharpe Art. No. So anyway, I'm easily reachable.
We will include all of those links in our show notes so that people can find you and reach out and hopefully learn more about what you've got going on and maybe purchase one of those dresses.
Yes,
You need to put me on the list for that.
yeah, I'm taking the list actually right now. It's been really popular. So
that's fantastic. Well, Dr. Susie Sharpe, thank you so much for spending part of your day with us and sharing your journey. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Be sure to check the show notes for links mentioned in this episode and join us in the Living the Good Life Facebook community for previews of each episode, the opportunity to pose questions directly to our guests, bonus content, and a community of people committed to living their best life and sharing the journey. Thanks for listening. Let us know what value you received from this episode and what you'd like us to explore in the future in the comments. And please take a moment to drop us a like or some stars. I'm Kimberly Henry. Let's get out there and live the good life.